In today's show, we're going to recap a crazy Wednesday in the NBA. 12 games, one postponed as well. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it. Indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I am the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com and at Yahoo Sports Australia. And you can find me on Twitter, as always, at redrock_bball and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. As I said, today we're looking at Wednesday's games. We're recapping all of those ones. And there was a lot of action for us to talk about, including, let's start off with the news that the Houston and Oklahoma City game was postponed. The Rockets had some COVID issues with not having enough players to play, basically. They needed 8 players to be able to play. They didn't have 8 players. James Harden is getting got fined for attending a strip club that he claims wasn't a strip club. Other players, Boogie Cousins, John Wall, Kenyon Martin, getting COVID issues or having COVID protocol breaches because of getting a haircut. I don't know what the hell is going on with that team, but they didn't have enough players. We don't know if they're going to be available to play on the weekend or not. We don't know when that game is going to be made up. But it's obviously a bummer to have that sort of shit go down to begin this season with the Thunder and the Rockets. And so many things we wanted to see. How did Harden look? How did Shai Gilgeous-Alexander look? Darius Bazley, all of those guys for the Thunder, Al Horford in his debut. So really, really frustrating. But, common sense with the league, I guess, postponing that because you don't want COVID to go through multiple teams. I think there was only one guy who had a positive test at this point on Houston, but they had to rule out everyone, and you need to have that rule out negative for a few days. So that's obviously frustrating. But let's talk about the games that actually did take place, because there's lots of interesting stuff for us to talk about here. And the first, that's the wrong button. There you go. It's rusty. It's the start of the season for me too. Let's look at the first game I'm going to look at, and that is the Miami Heat and the Orlando Magic. The Magic pull it out 113-107. Jim Butler plays 36 minutes. He has 19 points, but 7 assists and 7 steals is really, really strong stuff from Butler, while Bam Adebayo with a great one as well. Bam, 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 bam. Bam had 25 points on 69% shooting. Giggity. 11 rebounds, 4 assists and a block. So really the percentages give you that big boost there for Bam. The rotation, I wanted to see what happened. And interestingly, both Avery Bradley and Myers Leonard and KZ Okpala did not play. Kendrick Nunn was the 10th man of the rotation. He played only 8 minutes. He wasn't very good. I wouldn't expect him to hold that rotation spot all season. We had Precious Achiuwa come in as well and play over Myers Leonard. Started out really strong. Achiuwa had 8 points, but only played 14 minutes. And Mo Harkless started, played 23 minutes and didn't do much. Now, we don't need to look at adding Achiuwa. We don't need to look at adding Harkless or anything like that. The value is concentrated in the top guys. Dunk Robinson had 14 points with 3 triples. That's just what he does. Tyler Hero got the start.
Everyone has a hero. True. 0 people shouldn't have a hero. Yeah.
13 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. He's going to have field goal percentage issues and he's going to have defensive stats lacking. And that's why I think at times Hero was getting a little bit overdrafted, but he's clearly a 12-team guy, while Goran Dragic was great. 20 points in 26 minutes, 7 assists, 62% shooting. He's not going to be pushed for big minutes, but that's still obviously great production, while Kelly Olynyk was the guy getting the backup center minutes behind Bam, playing 20 minutes and crossing over with Bam as well for a few of those minutes. On the Magic side of things, we know James Ennis didn't play. Dwayne Bacon started. Literally, is he the worst player in the NBA? He is I was going to say he's this.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
But he's mainly just shit. 0 points on 0 of 5 shooting, 19 minutes. He did have 3 assists, which is probably more than his career total. When Ennis is back, Bacon will not be in this rotation. Chuma Okeke was getting minutes backing him up, and Okeke was getting minutes backing up Aaron Gordon. Bacon is just not good, so don't worry about him in a 12-teamer. Chuma came out, hit a shot early, but only had 3 points in 22 minutes because Aaron Gordon got into foul trouble. Now, Gordon was great. He was great in the preseason as well. 20 points, 7 rebounds, 26 minutes, 4 steals. Has he taken his game up to a new level? It does appear that way. I'm a little bit hesitant with Gordon because he has shown flashes in the past and then falls off, but this was really good. It was also good for Fournier, who shot 69% from the field. Did that button work?
Giggity.
No, there you go. 25 points, 31 minutes, 3 steals, no rebounds, which is hard to do. While Terrence Ross had 19, and Markelle Fultz, 29 minutes, 15, 5, and 4, a steal and a block for Fultz. I think Ross is on too many waiver wires. You should look to add him, while Vooch struggled a little bit there. 15 points, 11 rebounds, but 39% from the field, 25% from the line, 2 of 8 from the line is horrible for Vooch. He will be better than that. Cole Anthony, the rookie, 6 points, 6 assists, and 2 steals, getting those backup minutes behind Fultz. Yeah, pretty solid numbers for a rookie, especially one who's playing under Steve Clifford. We know that NBA, the season started. We're rolling here. College football bowl games are on. NFL playoffs are around the corner. You can make yourself some money by putting your sports knowledge to the test, and there's only one place that will have you covered, and only one place that we trust, and that is betonline.ag. Sign up today for a free account at betonline.ag and use that promo code LOCKEDON for 50% welcome bonus. Don't sit on the sidelines anymore. Get in on that action. Don't forget to use the promo code LOCKEDON. You'll receive $50 welcome bonus, and what that means is you put in $500, and they'll give you an extra $250 free on top of your account. Fantastic. So use Locked On, the promo code Locked On, to receive 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. BetOnline is your online sportsbook experts. Let us move in now to the next game here. It was the Cavs and the Hornets, and really some interesting performances here as well. The Cavs get the win 121-114 over the Hornets. Terry Rozier was on fire. 42 points. 10 triples. He shot 63% from 3. He had 2 steals and a block, 65% overall. He played 38 minutes. They really lent into those starting 1, 2, and 3, Rozier, Hayward, and Graham. That was massive from Rozier. I would be selling the absolute shit out of Terry Rozier after this game, because even if you don't think that LaMelo Ball will take his spot, and maybe he doesn't, he is not going to play 38 a night. He is not going to shoot 65% from the field. Have a look, see what you can get. Don't just sell him for nothing, but there will be people that buy. Yesterday I said Montrezl Harrell is a sell high, and then someone traded him for Christian Wood. Now, of course, Christian Wood didn't play today, so we didn't get to see how good that deal is, but it's a good deal, don't worry. Gordon Hayward was fantastic, 28, 4, and 7, but like Rozier, shot well. 61 from the field, 50% from 3. That's going to come down. And Devontae Graham, a lot of minutes, 10 points on 13 shots, 10 assists. We can get assists from him. I feel like the league's figured him out a little bit offensively, though, and the shots, they're just continually a worry. Will he be the guy that makes way for Ball? Well, after Ball's performance today, the Hornets aren't rushing him into the starting lineup. 16 minutes, 0 points, missed all 5 of his shots, 3 assists and 2 steals. I'm not dropping LaMelo at this point, but I'm obviously a little bit worried. Malik Monk out of the rotation. Cody Martin in ahead of him, while it was also a poor night from Paul Washington Jr. 4 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and a block. Didn't shoot well. I guess the big news is Cody Zeller, who fractured his hand. That's going to be 3-4 weeks, I would imagine, on the sidelines. Bismack Biyombo will start. He's really a low upside player who can give you some rebounds and some field goal percentage. Hopefully it means more Washington at center, and that means more Bridges at power forward, because Bridges only played 22 minutes. Bridges, if you've got him in a 12-team league, to me, he's not a must-roster player. He's someone that you can move on from to grab those streamers or grab those guys who really excelled today. For the Cavs, there was no Kevin Love, no Kevin Porter, Matty Dellavedova, Dante Exum. So there was big opportunities, and Larry Nance took those opportunities. 13, 13, and 8. We know that whenever we're going to get Nance playing minutes, he's going to produce. This is literally just what he does. Like, he goes out there and he puts up numbers. Now, will that always happen? No. Will he always get those minutes? No. But 13, 13, 8, 3 steals, 2 blocks. We know what he does. Getting 34 minutes a night when Kevin Love is there and Andre Drummond's not playing 27 minutes is going to be tough. But he's an interesting stream guy for now. I was preaching Darius Garland as a late round flyer pick. 22, 6, and 6. Loved it. We won't be this good, but that's great. While Colin Sexton had 27, 2, and 5. Some poor free throws dropped his overall value, but not bad overall. And then McGee had 13 and 7, and Drummond 14 and 14 with 4 assists. But Andre Drummond, man, what are you doing? 39% from the field. He just makes horrible offensive decisions a lot, like does things that he can't do. And that is always a problem with him. Isaac Akoro started. It wasn't great. It also wasn't bad. 11, 3, and 5, flashing some of that passing ability. I'm holding him in 12-team leagues. While Cedi Osman, who had a great preseason, only 18 minutes. Okoro is going to continue to start. I'd be stunned if he isn't. Dylan Windler had to leave the game with a hand issue. X-rays were negative, so that's good. But he's not really going to be too much of any sort of fantasy impact guy for this season. The next game we take a look at is the Wizards, and it's the Sixers. The Sixers get the win 113-107. Bradley Beal, at the beginning of the game, he just didn't touch the ball, but ends with a 36 usage, so that was all fine in the end. 31, 2 and 3 with 4 steals, shot 50% from the field, while Westbrook had a triple-double. Of course he did. 21, 11, and 15. But of course, he was a horrible shooter. 43 true shooting, and it wasn't because he took a ton of threes. He only took 2 threes. He just couldn't hit his twos. 41% from the field and 60% from the line. That is going to be something to monitor. I think it will improve, but it was shithouse. Davis Bertans was limited in his minutes. Only played 20, but man, he is just such a good shooter. 14 points, 4 triples, a great scoring and 3-point addition to a league. While Denny Avdia started and probably will continue to start. 7 points, 4 rebounds, 2 threes, a steal and a block. Now, I'd rather have Akoro than him. I'd rather have Pat Williams if we're looking at rookie wings. But Avdia's got some 12-team value. He just doesn't have huge upside, I don't think. Isaac Bonga started, 5 points in 17 minutes with 2 steals. He will likely give way to Rui Hachimura when he returns. While the tank, Tom Bryant, this is time for a sell high. Try again, buy low. 26 minutes, 10 and 5. But he had 5 fouls, and he doesn't have to play against Joel Embiid every game. So he's not going to rack up those fouls. Don't panic too much about that Tom Bryant performance. For the Sixers, let's start with Shake Milton, who was really, really good. Now, I've been pretty skeptical of Shake because I worry about how is he going to get enough shots because his value comes in scoring. And you see this here, 1 rebound and 3 assists. He's pretty low. The 3 steals are nice, but he was just great. 30 minutes, 19 points, 55 from the field. He got to the line 7 times. If he can continue that production, and he looks better than Seth Curry, and he looks better than Danny Green. He is a guy to at least add on 12-team leagues. I think his upside is muted, though, because of his inability to contribute in other areas. Benny Simmons, 16, 9, and 7, 2 steals and 3 blocks. That's just what he does, while Embiid had 29 and 14 and played 35 minutes, Joel did. Curry had 13 points. He had 4 assists and 2 steals. He's still a 12-team league guy, while the thick hogsman, Tobias Harris.
I think I am a TH?
T to the H.
Yeah, TH for life.
Now, I've been cautioning people about Harris, saying don't expect Clippers Tobias Harris to come back because Doc Rivers is there. I don't think he's going to be this bad. 23% shooting, he will be much better than that, but he's also not going to be that top 40-ish sort of player that he was with the Clippers. Matisse Thybulle, as expected, not in the rotation. Tyrese Maxey took that role, and I thought Maxey looked pretty good out there, while Green played only 18 minutes. Danny Green is not a 12-team league guy, as I'm assuring most of you would already know. But maybe if you don't, you can go on and drop him after a disappointing performance. Next game, the Knicks and the Pacers. The Knicks started out fantastically, and it didn't last because they lost 121-107. Let's talk about Rowan Barrett Jr. You want to talk sell highs? 34 minutes, he's going to continue to get minutes. 26 points, he's going to continue to get shots. 8 rebounds, 5 assists. That's all really good. He hit 3 threes. Fantastic. He also didn't miss one, and he was at 73% from the field. Barrett, absolutely. We said, take a flyer on him at the end. He was like 260th last year because of his bad percentages, and he's going to play more, and that's going to improve. But it's not going to improve to be literally the best shooter in the league, where he was at today, 67% on his 2s, 100% on his 3s. So there'll be people who'll be like, nah, man, RJ Barrett, he's a problem. He's built different, or whatever bullshit things that your Instagram accounts throw out there. He was much better, but he is not this good. So find the person that buys the hype, find the Knicks fan, and go, RJ Barrett, man, look how good he is. Man, he's really improved. Top 50 season, and trade him. If not, hold on. Don't trade him for bullshit. Don't trade him for nothing, but trade him. Alec Burks, another guy that I loved grabbing. They moved him to the bench because I don't know why, but 32 minutes, he played point guard in the end. 22, 4, and 3, a steal and a block. Great. Add him off the wire. While the double royal, Julius Randle. Look at Randle. No threes, no steals, no blocks, but 17, 9, and 9. He was playing point guard in this one as well. Overall, pretty good performance. How about Mitchie Robinson as well, who we thought wasn't going to start, but then did?
And Mitch Robinson says, I'll take it from here.
Unfortunately, he didn't take it from here. 21 minutes, 3 points, but he had 3 blocks. And of course, he had early foul trouble, as did Nerlens Noel, who played only 9 minutes and had 3 fouls there. I'm still holding Noel. I'm still holding Robinson. Let's see what happens. They ran with a lot of Julius Randle and Obi Toppin combinations.
I don't want to hear any more about Obi-Wan.
Which is not great for your defense. And Toppin, look, he's not a 12-team hold. Get rid of him. He's rostered in far too many leagues. 9 points with 3 threes in 24 minutes for Toppin. And Reggie Bullock, the surprise starter, had 3 threes in 26 minutes. Frank Ntilikina out of the rotation. Dennis Smith Jr. out of the rotation. Ntilikina played 5 minutes in the end because Emmanuel quickly couldn't play in the second half. Alfred Payton also sucked. They used a lot of Burks at point guard in this one. 7 points, 3 assists, and a steal. I'm not dropping Payton yet. I'm not dropping him. Quickly might have a chance to start, but it is still Tom Thibodeau. And that doesn't mean that Quickly's going to get big minutes. And he's hurt at the moment with a hip pointer. So don't drop Payton. Just hold for now. But not an ideal performance for him in this one. While the Fort Kevin Knox had 4 points in 18 minutes. And honestly, one of his better NBA performances. Let's go on to the next game. It is the Bucks. And it is... Oh, actually, you know what? Let's not go on to the next game because I forgot to talk about the other team in this one, and that was the Indiana Pacers. Miles Turner, only 29 minutes, but who gives a shit when he has 9 blocks, or 8 blocks and 8 rebounds? Didn't hit any threes, but took 4 of them. The Pacers offense looked a lot more open under Nate Bjorkgren. They attempted more threes than you would usually see. I'm just trying to find their 3-point attempts. 34 of them here. 10 and 8 for Turner is not great, but it's the 8 rebounds and 8 blocks that gets us excited. Sabonis played 37 minutes and just tore up the Knicks, which is to be expected. 32, 13, and 5. And Brogdon had 21, 7, and 8. And let's talk about Victor Oladipo. 22, 4, and 4. Only 28 minutes, but the shots fell. Now, he was at 64%, so that's going to come down. And part of the reason he was that top 12 player a few years ago is because he got 2 steals and a block per game. That's never coming back. He had 1 steal and 0 blocks there, so don't get overly excited, but it was encouraging. While Tony Warren, we talked about the worry about his plantar fasciitis. Somehow he was available to play. He probably shouldn't have. 23 minutes, 5 points, 25% shooting, 1 rebound, 1 assist, no threes, no steals, no blocks. People accuse me of being a TJ Warren hater. I'm definitely not a TJ Warren hater, but he also has a history of not being the most robust player in playing through injuries, and dealing with plantar fasciitis is a real prick. And now he has to be able to get through that. And I'm not dropping him, but it was a non-encouraging start. We got 28 minutes of Doug McDermott to replace Warren, 13 and 6 for McDirt in this one. Next up was the Celtics and the Bucks. The Bucks get the win in the end, 122-121. Jason Tatum with the game winner, but Yanni had the opportunity to tie the game with free throws.
Giannis Antetokounmpo
Hit the first, missed the second, and the Bucks lost. What is the most interesting is Chris Middleton played 38 minutes. Antetokounmpo played 36 minutes. Drew Holiday played 38 minutes. It's like Mike Budenholzer's lost his mind. 27 and 14 with 8 assists for Middleton. 35 and 13 with 2 blocks for Yanni, who did actually go 75% from the line, so that's encouraging. While Holiday had 25 and 6, 3 assists, 2 steals, and a block on 63%. The big Ragu, Dante DiVincenzo, had 2 steals and 3 threes. That's great. Must be a 12-team league guy. While Lopez had 7 points and 2 blocks. In the bench, not much to talk about there. DJ Wilson, ahead of Torrey Craig in the rotation, was a surprise, while Sam Merrill got 5 minutes because DJ Augustin was out. He didn't do anything in true Tony Snell fashion, but those guys who are hoping for Bryn Forbes to be a fantasy option or Bobby Portis would be pretty disappointed with how that looked out, or how it looked in the end, and they were never going to be fantasy options. Let's talk about the Celtics, though, because Jaylen Brown.
JB, you've done it again.
Big night for Jaylen, 33, 5 and 4, 2 steals and a block, 38 minutes. That's big from him. He was absolutely fantastic. While Tatum, some of the shot selection was rough. He ended on 43% shooting on a 39% usage, which is nonsense. 30 and 7, 6 threes, 2 steals and a block. I'm a bit worried about the shot selection, and he didn't get to the line once. That's a bit of a worry. The Celtics also surprised us by starting Tristan Thompson and Daniel Tice together. 12 and 8 for Tomo, 10 and 3 for Tice in 25 minutes. I don't think that's going to be something that's feasible every single game. And if they're going to play minutes like this, I find it hard to see either of them as must-roster 12-team league guys. They also went with a double big lineup off the bench with Grant Williams and Robert Williams coming in. So it was interesting type of rotation for Brad Stevens. Peyton Pritchard also in ahead of Aaron Nesmith, which I didn't expect. He wasn't particularly good, so that might not last. And we've got to talk about Marcus Smart, who had only 3 points. People will be pissed about Marcus Smart, but he didn't have a steal, but 7 assists and 2 blocks. You didn't draft Marcus Smart to score points for you. You hope you get some threes and you should get some steals. He'll be better than that. Don't panic. Jeff Teague also had a nice scoring night, 19 points in 25 minutes. He is just a streamer to me, but not particularly a high value one. The Pelicans get the win against the Raptors. Brandon Ingram, great stuff. 24, 9, and 11, 3 steals and a block. 1 of 2 from the line is not ideal, but it's only 2 attempts, so let's not worry about it. But great shooting. Good usage, high minutes. He looked really good out there. While Steven Adams, 4 steals and 2 blocks for Steve. You don't expect that sort of thing from Steven Adams very often. So don't bank on him bringing that level of defense. And JJ Redick, 6 triples. You know he's going to be a 3-point option all the time. Lonzo Ball played pretty well, I thought. 16 and 5 with 4 threes, 1 steal and 2 blocks. And I think at this point we've got to start realizing that Lonzo is not a bad shooter. he is a thoroughly average to maybe a good shooter. Eric Bledsoe, 34 minutes, 18, 2, and 6. He was criminally dropping down in drafts. You can get him in the 90s in some spots. Now, the free throws probably ruined his value here, but 34 minutes, I'll take it. Well, Zion, I'd love more minutes from Zion, only 30 in this one. 15 and 10, a steal and a block, but 1 of 4 from the line. That was our real worry. Could he figure out the free throws? First preseason game, yes. The next 2 games, no. But 79% from the field. Only 24 usage, which is a little bit worrying. The Raptors did really key on him, and that enabled guys like Ingram and Redick to get pretty wide open. For the Raptors, Nick Nurse, he does not give a shit about conditioning. He is the new Mike D'Antoni. Everyone just play whatever minutes you can. 39 for Kyle Lowry, 18 points, 10 assists. 36 for OG Anunoby.
But what about Scarf?
OG. Stop OG. You better stop OG.
Now, so much we'd heard OG is going to have this increased offensive role. 8 points, 16 usage, maybe not. But 3 steals, 2 blocks, useful. Siakam had 26 and 6, while Matt Thomas, he got the bench role. 9 points in 20 minutes, 3 threes, 4 assists, and 2 steals. Ahead of Malachi Flynn, ahead of Terrence Davis. He's a 3-point streamer for deeper leagues. The wiki, Chris Boucher, only 15 minutes because he has some downfalls that Nurse doesn't like, but 12 points, 5 rebounds, 2 blocks. He doesn't need 25 minutes to be an impact guy, and we saw that here. While Van Vliet, buy lows on him, 30 minutes, 9 points with 3 steals and 2 threes on 25% shooting. You turn that 25% into 45%, and you're talking about 18, 3 and 3 with 3 steals and maybe 4 triples, and you're feeling pretty good about it. Norm Powell was terrible, 12 points on 11 shots. That's 18% for those of you working it out at home. 23 minutes for Powell. You know that I always thought he was going to drop off from last year. It won't be this bad, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does become a drop guy at some point later on this season. The Hawks, they just bludgeoned the Bulls, 124 to 104. They started a lineup I didn't expect. Cam Reddish and DeAndre Hunter started at the 2 and the 3, with Bogdan Bogdanovic and Kevin Huerter coming off the bench. We had the Italian cock Danilo Gallinari.
Hands off my cock!
Starting next to the Baptist John Collins, but it's hard to get a full idea of this rotation because the most minutes anyone played was Solomon Hill, who played 28 minutes. Trae Young had 37, 6, and 7 in under 26 minutes on 83% shooting. Reddish was great, 15 and 6. Collins had 14 and 4 and played only 18 minutes. He did have 4 fouls there. Gallinari had 13 and 4. Bogdanovic had 15 and 7. Hunter had 11 points on 83% shooting. Huerter played 27 minutes. This was so much garbage time, though. We have no idea what this rotation is going to look like. And we've still got Rondo, Capella, Dunn, and Okongwu to come back. So this gives us almost no clarity of what to expect from the Hawks, except that their offense was way too much for a Bulls team that probably needs to bring back Jim Boylan. Of course, I'm taking the piss, but man, they were horrible. Lauri Markkanen, 30 minutes, 21 points, 7 rebounds, 67% shooting. That's great. But he was a minus 34. The Bulls defense was getting absolutely cooked, and he was part of it. I liked what I saw from Patrick Williams. He's, plus minus wasn't great either. 16 and 4, a 1-1. He's a 12-team leaguer. While Otto Porter played well in his bench role, but 23 minutes probably isn't going to be enough to justify him being a must-hold guy. 14 and 5 with 2 steals for Porter, while Levine had 22 points in his 25 minutes, and it was a bad night from Kobe White. 9 points on 18% shooting. That's Norm Powell-esque. 30 minutes, but he did have 7 assists, which is what we wanted to see from him, increase in playmaking. Don't drop him, don't sell low or anything like that. Keep hold. Now, I'm worried about Wendell Carter. He wasn't good. 26 minutes, 6 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 40% shooting. I'm holding, but I'm losing faith rapidly. No Garrett Temple, no Denzel Valentine, no Thomas Satoransky, as they all were underconditioned. So it was Adam Makoka. Yes, Adam Makoka who got those rotation minutes. 2 steals and a block. Remember he had that weird game last year where he played like 5 minutes and got like 3 steals and 2 blocks or something crazy like that? He did it again. So he's an interesting name to watch in deeper leagues. Now he's not going to be a part of the rotation, but defensive playmaking from Makoka is something that he does, and we saw him do that right here. Next up is the Spurs and the Grizzlies. Keldon Johnson, who didn't play in the preseason, we didn't expect him to play opening night. He started. He played 32 minutes. The Spurs win at 131-119. Keldon had 16, 5, and 3 with 3 steals. You know that I was preaching Keldon as a sleeper, and then I was a bit scared off by the injury, but go and grab him. Grab him for sure. Lonnie Walker had 16 and 6 with 3 triples. A pretty good night from Lonnie, and DeJounte had 21, 6, and 9, and DeRozan was great with 28, 9, and 9. So big performances all around there. I'm super impressed with what Johnson did, though. Just to get those minutes in his first game back is huge. Remember Popovich and rookies? Devin Vassell, he was all the rage. 3 points in 20 minutes. And when Derek White returns, he probably won't be in the rotation. Only 29 minutes for LaMarcus Aldridge, but still had 20 points in there. Not panicking too much about that. Or Rudy Gay had 10 and 7 in 21 minutes. So Keldon, he's entrenched to me. He's entrenched in this starting lineup. Really, really like that. For the Grizzlies, Ja Morant, amazing. 44, 9 assists, 2 steals, a block, a 3, 67% from the field, 88 from the line. You couldn't have hoped for anything more if you drafted Ja. While Dylan Brooks had 16 points with 6 assists. Now, getting 6 assists out of Dylan Brooks is amazing. 50% shooting, equally amazing. So he's been really good the last couple of games, including the preseason, probably as a 12-team ad. While Valanciunas played 30 minutes, he had 15 and 13, he had a 1-1, and we know when Valanciunas plays, when he plays good minutes, he's going to produce. It's just a simple fact of life. Not a great night from Kyle Anderson, but 29 minutes with 7 points and 10 rebounds. He's a soft hold, but if you want to drop him for an Akoro or a Pat Williams or even a Dylan Brooks, I think that's okay. Grayson Allen had 6 points with 5 assists in a starting role, while Brandon Clark, I wasn't as high on him as most people, 10 and 3 in 26 minutes. So he got the minutes, but his value is so tied to his field goal percentage that not much else was happening there. I don't think he's a drop, but I also think that he was being crazily overrated, in my opinion, and that, my opinion, obviously doesn't change after this game. Next up is the Pistons and the Timberwolves. The Wolves get the win 111-101. I don't know what Dwayne Casey's doing. That could be a quote from 5 years ago, really. I don't know what he's doing. Killian Hayes played 21 minutes, 7 points and 3 assists. Like, your team is the worst in the NBA outside of the Thunder, but you think you've got a path to winning? I don't know what we're doing here. Hayes had some brutal turnovers. I'm still holding him, but that was rough. 7 points with 3 assists. Josh Jackson looked good, though. 19 and 6 with 3 threes, 2 assists and a steal. 14 teamers, I'll add him for sure. Mason Plumley, he's a 12-team ad. 14, 8, and 6. Big minutes. Didn't even take any free throws. You don't have to worry about that. 88 from the field, while Derrick Rose had 15 points, and Blake Griffin had 15 and 7. Poor free throws from Blake, but overall a pretty good night. Only 19 minutes for Delon Wright. Shit at the start of preseason. Good last 2 games, and then shit here. Are we dropping him? I don't think his upside's all that high that we need to hold on to him for dear life. So 5 points, 4 assists, not a must hold. While Jeremy Grant, imagine paying this bloke $20 million a year because he wants to be the primary offensive option. Now, Grant was great when he had to play 25 minutes a night for the Nuggets. But man, this is going to ruin this bloke's reputation. And by this bloke, I could either mean Troy Weaver, or I could mean Jeremy Grant, or I could mean both. 9 points in 31 minutes for Grant. You're still holding him, but he just can't do this role. It's just not for him. Siegel Dunbar, a lot of people got hyped about his second preseason game. You got to see where he gets the minutes, and there's no path. 6 points, 9 rebounds, 14 minutes. I still like him long term, but there's no path for minutes. Karl Anthony Towns only played 30 minutes. That's an issue. Is it? Because he had 22, 11, and 7 with 2 threes, a steal, and 2 blocks. He was 8 of 8 from the line. Imagine if he didn't have the distractions of COVID. He is amazing. Malik Beasley, 23 points in 27 minutes. That's a really good shooting night. He doesn't do much else, but that scoring's nice. And there's still, it's hard to get clarity with this rotation. I tell you what, their power forwards are literally the worst in the league, and I don't know why they cut Rondé Hollis-Jefferson. Layman started. He had 0 points in 17 minutes. One show had 0 points in 12 minutes. Neither of these should be even sniffing your 12-team league. Okogie started, had 12 points in 33 minutes. He's more of a 14-teamer. Well, Jarrett Culver looked all right, 10 and 10, and hit his free throws. It was also a pretty good scoring night from Anthony Edwards, 15 points in 25 minutes, but poor efficiency. But with Beasley, with Russell, with Rubio, with Culver, it's just hard for him to push into a high level because of the minutes. Now, Rubio did start this one because D'Angelo Russell had to miss shoot-around because of a late COVID protocol result. That won't last, and Rubio played just 25 minutes while Russell played 33, 18, 5, and 4 for D'Angelo, 3, 1, and 3 for Rubio. I reckon he might see fewer minutes coming up, and he's going to, I think, transition into a drop guy relatively soon, would be my guess. Well, the next game was an absolute cracker. It was the Sacramento Kings and the Denver Nuggets. The Kings win it in overtime, 124-122, with a wild sequence to end. A Will Barton block of a Harrison Barnes layup turned into a Buddy Hield tip-in. There was strips. There was De'Aaron Fox blocking. It was crazy shit all over the place. Let's have a look at what happened. Buddy Hield, 22 points in 41 minutes, including the game winner with 5 threes. Really good scoring night from Hield. Not a huge amount else, but really good volume on everything. While the pencil Harrison Barnes. Barnesy. That's one of his better nights. 21 and 9, 5 assists, 2 steals, 42 minutes. He played a lot at his best position, power forward. Let's see if that continues, but I am not adding him on the back of this night. Corey Joseph also had probably a career night for him too. 15, 3, and 4, a steal, 2 blocks, 2 triples, and De'Aaron Fox had 21, 4, and 7 with a 111, a good night from Foxy. The big man was a mess, though. Richaun Holmes played 23 minutes. He had 6 and 9 and fouled out. Marvin Bagley played 27 minutes. He had 13 and 9 and fouled out. Now, Bagley had some terrible shooting, 36%. He hits no threes. He gets no assists. He's not a defensive guy as well. I'm still barely holding him in 12s, but it's just the same shit from him all the time. Points, rebounds, subpar field goals maybe, and not great free throws. Not bad, but not great. Just continually the same thing. Hassan Whiteside. He ended up with 18 minutes because Holmes and Bagley both fouled out. He would not have played this much at all. He had to close the game. He had 4 and 9 with a block. I want to see what happens in the next game, but if he's playing 12 minutes a night, then he is not a rosterable player. 22 minutes? Sure. 12 minutes? No. Because they went smaller a lot, which they should do. Harrison Barnes at the 4, because now they've got a guy like Tyrese Halliburton who played 30 minutes, had 12 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, and a block. Now, the 30 minutes is high because he was getting those extra minutes because Barnes was pushing up to the 4, and so they needed extra wings in there, so he was getting that playing time. It's hard to see 30 minutes from Halliburton, 40 from Hield, 40 from Fox, 30 from Joseph on a regular night. That's just not going to happen most nights. So before we get overly excited by Halliburton's 30 minutes, just remember that it is the reason because Holmes, Bagley fouled out, and they barely used Bielitsa and Whiteside. Now, that might stay the same for Bielitsa and Whiteside, but you're not going to have Holmes and Bagley, I would assume, fouling out on most nights. For the Nuggets, Big Chungus. Nikola Jokic. He had a triple-double, 42 minutes, 29, 15, 14, 3 blocks. No lull to start this season, while Mickey Porter. Remember the old sneaky Dr. Michael Malone? No, mate, we're going to start Will Barton. Well, you're not, because you didn't. And you started Michael Porter, who had 24 and 5. He had 2 steals, 3 blocks, 3 triples. Great. Farton Will Barton played more minutes, though. 16, 2 and 4 with 2 steals and a block. Started off well, went into a bit of a lull, had some good moments at the end of the game, and he's still a 12-team league player, while the Blue Arrow, the headmaster, Jamal Murray, 9 points on 11% shooting. I know I said that his bubble shooting wouldn't carry over. It's not going to be this bad, so don't panic too much. While Gaz Harris, I wouldn't say panic, but it's just never coming back for him. Nice, Gary! 10 points in 42 minutes. I'd say Facu Campazzo is in real trouble in this rotation. 3 points in 8 minutes, and when JaMychal Green comes back, he won't remain. Isaiah Hartenstein, just the 9 minutes. But he's got that backup spot locked down. He had 2 blocks. That's really useful for deeper leagues. And it was a stinker from Monty Morris as well. 2 points in 16 minutes. PJ Dozier. Malone loves this bloke. I'm not that enamored with him, but he loves him. 15 minutes, 7 points, 5 rebounds, 2 blocks for Dozier, who played backup power forward. It just goes to show you where Bol is in the rotation. He is not even sniffing it. And that's with JaMychal Green out. You're playing a point guard shooting guard at power forward in PJ Dozier. So if you got Bol in 12s or 14s, you can drop his ass pretty quickly. I think we're going to look at Paul Millsap. 36 minutes, 16 and 7 and 2 threes. There's no Jeremy Grant to steal his minutes this year, so maybe he just gets back to being a solid player. I think he's worth having a squiz at in 12-team leagues to see if he can continue, but this is what happened in the preseason. It's happened in the first game of the regular season. 36 minutes is too high, and JaMychal Green will cut into that for sure. But if Millsap plays 27, then he is a 12-team league guy, I would say. Next game was a bit of a blowout. High hopes for Portland this season. They'd want to be a little bit better than this. 120-100, and really, it wasn't even this close. Rudy Gobert was fantastic.
Rudy Gobert.
20 points in 28 minutes, 17 boards. Didn't block a shot, but still really good. The Don Donovan Mitchell had 20 points with 5 assists and 4 triples. And Jingle and Joe, 14, 5 and 7, a steal and a block. That's a throwback game from Ingles. I'm not trusting it to continue. I think he's more of a streamer than anything else, but that's really good. Royce O'Neal, he's never going to be a 12-team league guy. 0 points, 7 rebounds, while Conley had 18, 3 and 2. Not great on 40% shooting. He can be better than that. So can Bojan Bogdanovic, who had 15 and 6 with 4 triples. And Jordan Clarkson put 15 and 7 up on the board with 3 triples. Good numbers for all those guys. It wasn't so good for Portland. Christian James McCollum had 23 points on 37% shooting. Blocked a shot, which was good. Hit all 6 of his free throws, but rough all around. And then just 22 minutes for Yusuf Nurkic. Now, that is terrible. We worried a little bit about what the minutes were going to be. He should be playing 30 plus. There's no denying that. There's no excuse for Enes Kanter playing 26 minutes. But I think some of that is blowout related, because you'll see when I talk about another player. I'm holding steady on Nurkic, but that is rough. 13, 3 and 3 for him. The numbers are still really good. Just the minutes are shithouse. 26 for Kanter, 14 and 8. He didn't miss a shot. We're not adding him, of course. Gary Trent had 11 points with 3 triples and 2 steals. And Lillard, that's rough. 9 points, 33%, 7 assists, 111. If anyone wants to sell low on Lillard, or if you want to buy low, try it. Because if anyone wants to give him up for a second-round player, you do it. 24 minutes of Carmelo Anthony. Just a reminder, Carmelo Anthony is rostered in too many 12-team leagues. He's not a 12-team league player. He did have 15 points here, but only 21 minutes for Bob Covington to worry. Now, you know that I was down on Robert Covington. You heard me talk about it in the ADP battles. It wasn't because I thought he played 21 minutes a night. It's just that I thought he wouldn't play the 34 he played in Houston. He wouldn't get the same opportunities to block shots and grab rebounds. He had 1, 4, and 3 here. That's rough as shit. We're not dropping him, of course. In a points league, I think he might become droppable at some point. Not yet. But that's terrible. Derek Jones, 9 and 4 in 26 minutes. He's not a 12-team league guy. He just doesn't do anything offensively, and he can bring defense, but when he doesn't, there's nothing there. Well, Rocket Rodney Hood had 0 points in 14 minutes. Harry Giles, just a garbage time player. Remember the big games he had in the preseason? He's not in the rotation, so forget about him in anything but Dynasty or Deep Leagues, and even in Dynasty Leagues. He's been around 4 years, and I know he's had a lot of injuries, but I'm not really sure it's ever going to fall together exactly for Harry Giles, but really, really disappointing stuff for Portland in this game. They just need to be better than this. All right, because it is Christmas Eve here in Australia, I wish everyone happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, happy holidays over there. I'm not going to cover the last game, the Dallas Mavericks and the Phoenix Suns. That game, there is a quarter to go, but I do have a family Christmas gathering that I need to go to tonight, so I've got to get that. Got to go and do that now. Christmas with my son and presents and all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to have this write up over on Basketball Monster for the final game, that the Suns and the Mavericks. Interestingly, though, just one thing, Cameron Payne is getting those minutes ahead of Javon Carter, ahead of Langston Galloway, and DeAndre Ayton. When you look at his numbers, it's foul trouble. He has 12 minutes through the first 3 quarters. That is foul trouble. Don't forget, subscribe, Apple Podcasts. Actually, before I get into that, tomorrow, there will be a bit of a show tomorrow morning talking about what to watch for on the Christmas Day game. So check that out. And I'll have a DraftKings preview over on Al Zeidenfeld's channel. So check that out there. Subscribe, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and on YouTube. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.